All right. I'd like to give a quick tutorial for the Desert Laser skip found by Reaverman. This is a way to skip the latches over the Desert Laser. So the first one I want to talk about is the one latch skip. For this, you'll solve the far panel first, and then we're just going to skip past this latch. So the first thing is you need to be not too close to the panel, because it's going to matter that we not get snapped in. So I recommend standing right about the entryway. Second, have you ever noticed that if you click on the side of the start point, it actually centers you? Well, it turns out that it seems like the game is just bringing you to the first valid point. And if the start is actually off screen, it'll bring you to the first point on the line that's valid. So if we put a lot of the puzzle off screen, the first point that's valid will actually be above the latch, and the game doesn't check for that. So all we have to do is put the latch off screen, and boom, it jumps our cursor past the latch. This is actually the lowest point that's valid before going off screen. All right, this is the one latch skip. It's super easy. Now, I want to talk about the two ways this can go wrong. First, if your angle is too shallow, what you'll see is this. Your cursor won't jump past, and when you let go, your cursor is still below the latch. This is because the angle isn't sharp enough to force your cursor up the side. The second thing that can happen is if your angle is too steep. You'll get this. Your cursor reappears in the middle of the latch, because this is the lowest valid point, but it's not a valid location, because you can't see it, and so it'll snap you off. The way I do this lineup is I look at this area above the line, and I think about the midpoint. And as long as that midpoint is off screen, just barely, we skip past it. Okay, now I do want to talk about the two latch skip. Before we get there, I want to show off one more thing, which is how this all works for the two latch skip. It was known actually for a while that if you stand in a pretty precise position here, I'm actually using the trainer to get the lineup, a pretty precise position here, you can skip past the first latch. Basically, the latch isn't flush, and there's a slight angle where you can see it. However, the second latch is in the way, so we didn't think that this mattered. But now that we have this skip, so we're not going to solve the far panel. We're going to run up against the left-hand wall instead of the right-hand wall. And I'm going to move until I see this dark line, right, the line of the puzzle appear, then a bit of orange, then I'm going to move back. So now this top line should be completely valid to solve. Now, before we pull this off, I want to talk about this start point. This start point is not where it seems to be. You can actually start this start point from pretty far away, in fact, entirely off the edge of the panel. So when we're setting this trick up, we can actually put the entire bottom half of the panel off screen. So it's going to be just like the one latch skip, because that's actually all we're doing is skipping the bottom latch, because this upper area is valid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this center of this latch and line that up with the edge of the screen. Make sure my angle's not too shallow or too steep. Click somewhere off screen, and that's it. Okay. So again, line up, pick the center point here, line it up with the edge of the screen, click somewhere near the start point because the hitbox is ridiculous, and it works. Okay. Let me show you both of these at full speed. First, the one latch skip. You're going to come over here, solve the far panel, run up to the edge, line up just past the middle. Oops, it was too high. And solve. And the two latch skip, we're going to run past the panel. We're going to run up against the left-hand wall, push till we see that orange line appear and then disappear, line up the middle, and solve.